Have you ever felt like the biggest battles you're fighting are, well, the ones that are just inside your own head? Today, we're going to explore a really provocative idea from our source material. What if the root of all our struggles isn't actually out there in the world, but it's right here, inside our own imagination? Let's get into it.
So our source text kicks off with a question that, honestly, just cuts right to the chase. I'm pretty sure it's crossed all of our minds at some point. It's such a bold way to start, and it really gets to the heart of that frustration and confusion we feel when we look at the world around us, and, sometimes even when we just look in the mirror.
Okay, so what is the source of all this trouble? According to our source, the problem isn't out there at all. It's in here. The idea is that we're living in a prison that we've actually built for ourselves. And it's not a cage made of steel bars, but one woven from the very fabric of our own thoughts.
And this is the central concept the source calls living in our imagination. Just think about that for a second. It's that state of mind where your thoughts just completely run away with you, right? You're aimlessly replaying something that happened in the past, or you're anxiously rehearsing every possible thing that could happen in the future. It's when your mind is, well, literally anywhere but the present moment.
And here's the kicker. This isn't just happening in a vacuum. Our source argues that our imagination is constantly getting fed by, well, everything around us. The culture we live in, the entertainment we watch, our traditions, and yeah, especially our past traumas. And all those things we're scared might happen down the road. It's all just more fuel for the fire.
This really helps clarify the two states of being our source is talking about. So on one side, you have what's called a sound mind. It's calm, it's present, it's centered. But then on the other side, there's this mind of fear. And that one, it thrives on imagination, it feeds on all the unknowns, and it just completely drowns out that quieter, more intuitive part of ourselves.
All right, so if our imagination is the prison, then how in the world do we escape? Well, our source suggests it's not about thinking harder or analyzing things more. No, it's about finding a completely different way to exist. It's all about discovering the power of stillness.
And the source points to this verse from Psalms as a really key piece of evidence. The command here, be still, is interpreted as a direct instruction to quiet the mind, to silence that constant chatter of our imagination. And by doing that, we can connect with something much, much bigger than ourselves.
And then the source builds on this idea with what it calls the absolute strongest command on this topic. This isn't some gentle suggestion. It is a call to action. That phrase, bring every thought into captivity, wow. It paints this picture of a constant, deliberate effort. It's like we have to actively tame the wild horses of our minds and get them aligned with a higher truth.
So how do we actually do this? How do we practice it? Well, the source lays out this four-step path. Step 1, you just have to recognize that you're lost in your own thoughts. Then, step 2, you actively work to silence that noise. 3, you consciously decide to step out of that imaginary world. And finally, you return to living in the here and now. And what's the reward for all this effort? What's the payoff? Well, according to the source, it's nothing less than true freedom. We're talking about a journey from that invisible prison of our own minds to a life of genuine liberty and just profound inner peace. This table just lays out the two paths in such stark contrast. You've got the captive life, right? It's fueled by imagination, a total non-stop roller coaster of past regrets and future anxieties. But then you have the free life. This one's rooted in faith and it's grounded in the present moment. It's about healing from the past, trusting in the future, and that's what leads to a life of real hope and peace.
And our source directly equates this free life with seeking the kingdom of God. It's described as a life without fear, without that runaway imagination. It's a journey of faith that really means letting go of the ego's constant chatter and learning to tune in to a much quieter, more profound kind of guidance.
Now, it is really important to understand that this is not a one-and-done kind of fix. The source presents this as a continuous, moment-by-moment practice. Think of it like a kind of never-ending prayer.
And just to underscore the sheer intensity of this inner battle, the source offers a pretty startling number, 1,000. It suggests that our minds might try to hijack our thoughts and silence our spirit 1,000 times a day. That really drives home the need for constant, yet gentle awareness, doesn't it?
And here is where it all comes together. That constant act of catching ourselves lost in thought and then bringing ourselves back to a state of stillness, that is, in itself, a form of unceasing prayer. It's not about kneeling or reciting words. It's a dynamic, moment-to-moment spiritual practice. And this leaves us with a final, really powerful question to reflect on. If we actually manage to silence all that constant noise of our imagination, our fears, our plans, our memories, what's left? What remains? According to this text, what's left behind is a much quieter and much truer guide.
And that wraps up our little exploration of living in our imagination. It's definitely a challenging concept, but man, what a powerful new perspective on our inner lives, right? If you found this helpful or it got you thinking, do us a favor and like this explainer, maybe share it with a friend who'd appreciate it, and we would absolutely love to hear your thoughts down in the comments. And of course, be sure to subscribe for more explainers just like this one. Thanks so much for tuning in.